Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a whole new episode of Full Steam Ahead. I'm your host, Zoe, with my co-host on the other side, Cantu. How's it going? Happy hump day to everybody. Angel, I've already heard that you've told me being on off the pod that you're already going back to school. You're getting ready for the new school year. How are everything going?
Yeah, everything's going good. Just sitting through meetings and could be emails and stuff like that. But overall, excited for the school year. So looking forward to that. How about
Is
yours?
this? I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say, is this year 3 or is it year 4 for you being a teacher now?
Year 5. Year 5.
Year 5?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Spent 2 years in Dallas, and then this is my third year
Oh yeah.
at this school. Yeah. So year 5.
Subject is
Reading.
English.
Reading. Yeah. English language arts. Yes. English
Language arts, and you're a 4th grade teacher.
Absolutely. Yes. But how are you doing, though?
We are doing great. We are doing great on this fabulous night of Wednesday, July 24. Astros are going to have an off day on Thursday. If you're listening to this on Thursday morning, obviously they're not playing baseball because it's going to be a very, very exciting series this coming weekend against the Los Angeles Dodgers. But personally, me, I'm doing fantastic. Another day being in life, very blessed, like always. But our objectives are on the side right there. As you can see, recap the Athletics series. RISP, runners in scoring position, was very atrocious this series against the Athletics. Jake Bloss, we'll talk a little bit more about him. Hunter Brown continues to dominate. Isaac Paredes, Angel, a lot of rumors out there going from MLB Network to Chandler Rome's article. So we'll talk about him and the Astros. Maybe that could be a potential fit for them. Who's invited to the Carne Asada? The Dodgers pitching preview, train station injury news, and around the horn. My God.
That's a lot.
There is a lot to go through, but hey, we're going to bust it out. Episode 198 as the Astros travel to the Bay Area at Oakland, California to visit the last official time at the Oakland Coliseum / Rickey Henderson Field.
End of an era.
End of an era over there. The Possums at the broadcast booths, of course, that's the end of an era for the Possums visiting the opposing teams, I want to say, or even the home teams, the home broadcasts. But it does suck, though, for Oakland fans because that fan community has a lot of heart for their baseball team from the 60s, 70s, 80s, I mean, throughout the whole years that Oakland Athletics has been over there. I mean, that fan community, very passionate about baseball.
A lot of history, and that's why this move hurts, like you said, the fans, but just baseball in general. I think there's a lot of history there. Very historical franchise the Athletics are, and just for that fan base, they had already lost the Oakland Raiders, and now losing the Athletics, that's just another punch in the gut. I think they only have the Golden State Warriors now, right? I believe they're based out of Oakland. So I think
they're now moved to San Francisco.
Oh, there you go. So there's literally nothing there left. So yeah, I feel for them.
You have to, like you said, very historical teams in that era too. In the 70s, Dennis Eckersley, Raleigh Fingers, not Gossage, Reggie Jackson. All those phenomenal players, Dave Stewart. Then we can go to the 2000 era too. I mean, Eric Chavez. I remember watching him growing up.
Coco Crisp
was another one. I mean, a lot of
Mark
memories.
McGuire.
Oh, the Bash Brothers. We can't forget about them. Jose Canseco. They had Jose Canseco bobblehead now. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did not.
Yeah, celebrated, I want to say, his 30-30 season, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. But we did tell y'all, this Oakland Athletics team in the month of July right now is playing great baseball, and it just showed in this series against the Astros. The Astros lose this heartbreaking series to the Oakland A's, but they have been playing phenomenal baseball. That was one guy we forgot to mention when we were talking about players. Lawrence Butler has been killing the baseball, but besides him, you got Shane Langoliers, Zach Geloff, all those young core players that's going to be a part of that athletics organization. But we haven't done this segment in a while. We're going to say the one word to describe this series. How are you going to describe this series in one word, Angel?
I'd say mediocre at best. I think the Astros could have won the series. Their pitching wasn't great, and that's going to be Spencer Arrighetti and Bloss. They were not, no, they did not do with their job basically. But the Athletics took advantage of that. Like they were missing spots, and Bloss I think got lit up after two pretty good starts against the Orioles, and I forget the other team he pitched against, but um, after that, I think kind of hit reality a little bit. This Athletics took advantage of the mistakes he did, and Lawrence Butler, real deal. It was like had the triple in the first at bat, then had a homer in the second bat, and it was only the fourth inning, and he was already halfway through a cycle. So doing that, but I would say mediocre at best. Now, it could have been worse. It could have been worse because the Astros are still in first place because Seattle lost 3 in a row over there in Anaheim. So,
well, no, it was at their own ballpark.
Oh, at their own ballpark. There you go. That's 3 in a row to the Angels. But I would say mediocre because, yes, it wasn't a pretty baseball for the Astros over there in Oakland, but they're still in first place. They still hold that 1-game lead, and they just got to shake this one off and move forward.
Yeah, I think that's the best way you could say it. They did play mediocre baseball. It wasn't their best baseball that Astros fans have seen from the past couple games, even before the All-Star break. But when you run into a red hot team like that, I mean, you can't do nothing about it. You got to tip your cap to Hogan Harris. He did a pretty good job. We gave you the stats that he hasn't started a lot of games this season. The same thing goes for Oswaldo Bido. I mean, he pitched another good game. That was his second start, I think, this season.
He pitched 5 innings, if I'm not mistaken, either 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, Hogan Harris had pitched 6 and a third, maybe. I know he pitched to the 7th inning. He didn't get to finish that inning out, but he did pitch 6 innings, getting out some jams. But you just tip your cap. You really can't do nothing about it. That's the beauty of this game of baseball. You're gonna lose some, you're gonna win some.
Osvaldo Bido pitched 5 innings, so 4 hit ball with 6 strikeouts and no walks. That was his longest outing of his career.
Damn. My fault for messing that up. I said Oswaldo. It's Osvaldo. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing you could do. I mean, you just up to them pitchers.
The second longest outing of his career.
Second longest outing.
Yeah, he pitched 5 innings back in June 22nd and then July 23rd, but that's as far as he's gotten. So my bad about that.
Can't do nothing about it. Astros 53 and 49 at the end of the day. Their record, like you said, Angel, the Angels did sweep the Seattle Mariners. Man, Mariners they've been on a losing streak for a good while. I think I've listened. I want to say MLB Network had said they've lost 22 out of their last 29 games.
They're 2-8 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, that's pretty horrendous if you're a Mariners fan. Especially when you had a 10-game lead in this division, and then the Astros came back up. Like I said, 53-49 record for the Stros. Seattle Mariners, 53 and 51. Texas Rangers, who have been playing some good baseball of late, 49 and 52. And we'll throw the Angels in there too, 45 and 57. They're 8 games back. The Rangers are 3.5 games back. And now the Mariners are 1 game back of the Astros for the American League West. Could have been a different story for the Astros if they would have won that game 3 in the last game of that series against the Mariners. That would have made 6 games in a row for them, plus 2 back-to-back sweeps against divisional rivals for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just said it right there.
So no one wants to talk about them. Astros lead the American League West, like I had mentioned. Recap that Athletics series, starting off with runners in scoring position. The Astros just did not do a good job with men on base, runners on first and second, second and third, first and third, even a runner on third. They just did not do their job. Monday, 1 for 6 in runners in scoring position, 8 men left on base. They grounded into 3 double plays. 3 double plays, 1 coming from Alex Bregman and 2 coming from Jake Myers. And there was a lot of critical moments in the game. There was runners on first and second. I wanted to say in one of those innings with the no outs, they just couldn't get no runners in. Like I said, I mean, Hogan Harris just did his job, made the Astros put the ball in play, and the Astros were just putting the ball in the wrong spots. They're just hitting them right at people. And sure enough, I mean, 3 double plays. I've never seen that stat in the Astros lineup in a while. Tuesday, 2 for 11 as well, 7 left on base. If you looked at these games, for Monday and Tuesday's game, I would say for the Astros in the lineup, they were chasing out of the zone. A lot of pitches out of the zone, chasing a lot of off speeds, fastballs included. The discipline was just not there, and that's what we had mentioned when you're going against Hogan Harris and when you're going to go against Beto. You have to have some type of discipline at the plate. You cannot be chasing. I want to say Hogan Harris was the stat I gave out, either him or Beto. They had a 3 point something walks per 9 innings at the Oakland Coliseum, and being away from the Coliseum, they had like a 5.27 walks per 9 innings. So you know that they were going to walk a lot of players. You know that their off speed just wasn't there. The fastball is not going to be pretty good. You just had to be disciplined at the plate and not chase out of the zone. Even though there could be some good pitches out, you can't just afford to chase them. And sure enough, a lot of these at bats coming, from not from Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, a Yiner Diaz, a John Singleton. A lot of these hitters were just chasing out part of the plate, and that's what helped those two pitchers out in these games.
And then a consequence to that is when you do end up making contact because you are down behind the count because you're swinging at pitches like out of the zone, you start swinging at pitches too because you want to keep it close. You don't strike out looking. So that's why that leads into those double plays, like those weak outs that the Astros had a lot this series. And I mean, kudos to those pitchers over there. I mean, they had a game plan, they executed well. But I think the Astros could, like, if they just have better at bats, I think it's a different story in this series.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, they just ran into some bad luck too. I know Alex Bregman roped up some balls right out to people too. So I mean, that's the thing. That's
it was a hanging slider too.
Hanging slider for which one? For Alex Bregman?
Alex Bregman, hanging slider. Center fielder made a good play. I didn't cut it in the gap.
Yeah, I think he had bases loaded. I want to say they threw him off speed in the middle part of the plane. He just missed. But looking back on runners in scoring position on Wednesday's contest, they did a pretty good job. 4 for 9, only 5 men left on base. I think that was the biggest part of these 3 games against the Athletics was just offense. The offense just wasn't clicking. They were shut out the first game. Game 2, they only scored 2 runs. And then game 3, obviously, when you have a good pitcher like Hunter Brown, who's been pitching really well, the offense just went out and did their job. 8 runs on the board. But like I said, and we already said it about a bunch of times, you just got to give credit to the pitchers on the other side of what they were doing when they had a better game plan on the Astros.
And the crazy thing is, if you look at the starters for this game, it was Harris, Brito, and then J.P. Sears in the last game. Out of those 3, which game do you think the Athletics would have a better chance to win?
And it's probably J.P. Sears.
J.P. Sears, no doubt. And it's kind of how the reverse happened, right? The Astros struggle with the 2 pitchers that you would deem that the Astros could get through easily, and then J.P. Sears, who's been pretty good the past 2 seasons, gets lit up for the Astros. So it's just crazy how that works.
Yeah, and then we even said it. If the Astros offense could get on them early, there's a great possibility it's going to be a bullpen game. Not just for game 1, but for game 2. And then for game 3, you're just putting more pressure on the starter to see how long he can go if you're an Oakland Athletics fan. But they did their job, and switching from their starting pitchers to the Astros starting pitchers, Spencer Arrighetti, Jake Bloss just did not have it. Both rookies struggled, and I want to talk a little bit more specifically on Jake Bloss. This is barely his 3rd career start with the Astros. 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He's a rookie, by all means. Everybody knows that. The Astros are running into injuries in the starting rotation. The Astros needed somebody to step up, and Jake Bloss has been the guy. And just this start, I mean, it just wasn't really great. I put the stat line out there. We even put the tweet out there. No words. When I mean by no words, I'm not talking about his performance. Yes, people could get that repertoire about it, but no words as saying too with the runners in scoring position. Offense wasn't there. Pitching just wasn't there because after him, it was Sean Dubin that came in, gave up some runs. It just wasn't all on him. It was literally the whole game for the Astros. But specifically back on Bloss, pitching location was just an issue. The accuracy on his pitches were just not spot on. It just wasn't good. Brent Rooker, 2-run homer, had 2 outs on him, and Bloss missed it with a fastball right in the middle of the zone. Lawrence Butler solo home run, hanging slider. Seth Brown solo home run, hanging changeup. Zach Geloff with another solo fastball right in the higher part of the zone. So Bloss was missing a lot of his pitching locations. He just wasn't accurate with his pitches. And when you face a team that has some experience in the big leagues, at least over a year, because Zach Geloff, I want to say this is his second year. Maybe this is his first official MLB regular season. Lawrence Butler's another guy. Seth Brown has been in the league. Brent Rooker's been in the league. They're not going to make any mistake. If you're going to pitch a mistake right to them, right down the heart of the plate, by all means, they're going to tee off. And sure enough, 4 home runs in that start, specifically against a team like that. And the velocity, just to back it off real quick, was just going down in each inning for him. Started out 94.3 miles per hour. That's where he topped out in his start. It went to the lowest part of his four-seam fastball was a 90.6, and that was at the 4th inning. I don't know. He's just trying to pitch hard as possible. I don't know if that's just now just the game that we're living in baseball, that you're just trying to just pitch as hard as you can just to blow that heater right by that hitter. They're not focused on pitching location. But I don't know too. You could attest to this. He did have shoulder inflammation in his first start. He does have an injury history just from that part. It just wasn't there for him. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like it's only his 3rd career start. He hadn't gone past 3 innings in his first 2 outings, so could have been a little bit of fatigueness at the end. The reason for like the velocity drop, and they just take advantage of that. But I mean, you gotta shake this one off if you're Bloss. I think it happens to the best. I'm sure Verlander has games where he's allowed 5 or more runs, and and when he was in his prime too. Every pitcher goes through this part. Growing pains, as you want to call it. You just got to learn from it, learn what worked, learn why, fix any mechanical issues. But I think Jake Bloss, all the Astros want him to do is give him a chance. They're not expecting him to be throwing 2-hit outings, 7 innings, 6 innings. He's just there to eat up innings. They give him a chance to win. Eat up those innings, pitch every 5 days, and that's all they're asking for. Pitch as long as you can go, limit the damage, give him a chance, and the Astros will be all right. So, I mean, 5 earned runs. If you look at the bright side, he only had 1 walk, and for him having one walk while command was an issue, I think that's the right part.
Yeah, and then the other bright spot of it too, 11 swing and misses. So he's getting the swing and miss part. Is just the mistakes that you're leaving in the like in a crucial at bat with runners in scoring position, 2 outs too. You're gonna get caught with this in the big leagues. Maybe in the minor leagues you won't get caught with this because the damage won't be as bad as in the major leagues. But like you were saying, 3rd career start. The Astros need somebody to eat these type of innings. They don't have a starting pitcher that can eat innings at the big league level right now. That's why they call Jake Bloss. That's why it's important too for Justin Verlander to get back to the rotation as quickly as possible, but at the same time it has to be safe, fully recovered 100% from that neck discomfort. And you could give the kid the credit that he deserves. I mean, he's just doing as much as he can, like you said. All he can do is just go out there and pitch good games. And he has that stints too in his starts, and at least in these 3 starts, he pitches really well in the first 2 innings, and then sometimes he just kind of falls off track. Like it just happens. And of course, you're going to live and learn through these mistakes coming at the big league level. And of course, for him too, I'm pretty sure he's not fully developed. As soon as Verlander comes back, more than likely he'll be the guy to go back to AAA, and then he'll go and look at the footage, look at the video, look at the stuff that he needs to fix, off speeds, command, all that type of stuff to be a better pitcher next time whenever he goes to the big leagues.
Absolutely.
But to end it, actually, real quick, I wanted to go with Spencer Arrighetti because it's kind of good and kind of bad for him. First time through the order, I'm very interested because in the first 2-3 innings that he pitches, he looks really well. But then the next time around, he kind of like he's kind of like the same thing as Jake Bloss. He kind of falls off the tracks and starts getting hammered. He has a 3.93 ERA with the opponent batting of 2.41 first time through the order. The next time going through the order, 8.16 ERA. Second time through with a 3.18 opponent batting average. Confidence is there, but the adjustments just have to be made.
Okay. That's not pretty. I mean, you're not going to win too many ball games like that.
You're not, but there's some parts of the game that he's been pitching really well. There's games like the Cleveland, the Atlanta, just recently the Texas game too. He's pitched really well. It's just the inconsistency and just having that confidence, like we were talking about with him, coming into these games and pitching, because you can't take it lightly against a team like that. Even though their record is like 39-60, still, by all means, this is one of the hottest teams in the month of July. You got to go out there and take care of business. But he did pitch to the 6th inning. Give him credit for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Starting pitching, though, since we're on that track, Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown has just been dominating from all the way to the end of May. He's just been that guy for the Astros. He's been literally the ace. It's been Ronel Blanco, but now it's turning into Hunter Brown being the ace of this club for this part of the season. 6 innings, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. 97 pitches were made. 57 of them were strikes. This is 12 consecutive start pitching through 6 innings or more. 11th quality start out of his last 12 starts. And since May 5th, Angel, let's dive deep into the numbers in the American League in ERA. Hunter Brown's with 2 of the best out there. Garrett Crochet with a 1.76 ERA, Corbin Burns with a 2.27 ERA, and then it's him with a 2.51 ERA since May 5th.
Oh, wow.
Just imagine if Framber Valdez can turn into the first half, like you were saying, this was one of your second half guys to turn the page and help the Astros and that rotation. Just imagine if he pitches the way he was in 2022 in that first half. If Justin Verlander comes back fully healthy with no type of setbacks, no injury pain, nothing like that with his neck, and he pitches like the second half of the 2017 season, that's a 3-headed monster right there. And then don't forget Ronel Blanco. If Ronel Blanco just continues to pitch how he was in the first half, you got 4 quality starters in that rotation that can help you win in a postseason game.
Okay. And that's what we're going to need. That's what they're going to need because, I mean, at the end of the day, if everything works out on paper, your 3 starters for the postseason will be Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, and Hunter Brown at this point because he's just earned that position. And you just got to ride with those 3 and make sure, those 3 are doing what they got to do.
Yeah, he's just done a phenomenal job stepping up in this rotation, especially when there's guys that are dealing with injuries. I mean, we could go from the beginning of the season from Christian Javier, JP France, Framber Valdez had a time too that he had missed a start. Give credit to him. He's been one of the healthy pitchers, him and Ronel Blanco, this whole season. Knocking on wood, nothing happens to them now in this second half of the last regular of the 24 season. But Hunter Brown has been really doing a phenomenal job executing his pitches. Command looks really well. We could talk all about his pitches and developing that sinker into his arsenal. He has just looked like a different pitcher and really a Cy Young pitcher since that May 5th.
I would feel like that what I want the people to think about throughout this podcast is what would the Astros be without Ronel Blanco, Hunter Brown? Because they've been phenomenal.
Exactly. And those are the guys that you're seeing in the 4-5 star rotation. If we could go back to our episodes from the beginning of the season, we projected the rotation to be Justin Verlander, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy before the injury had happened, and JP France. Before the injury had happened, it was going to be Jose Urquidy and Hunter Brown probably. But then Urquidy had messed up with his injury, JP France and Hunter Brown. 4-5. And then Ronel Blanco wasn't even the rotation to begin with, the beginning part when we were projecting the season.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys in the back end of that starting rotation.
stepping up. Like you always have to have that next man up mentality for sure.
Yeah, and both of them have done a phenomenal job, like you said. Without those two guys, there's probably a good chance that the Astros aren't in a good position to be hunting in for a postseason spot for this year. But Joshua did make a good point, Angel. We are only, as he's saying, only for the Astros as we American League team with an all-time winning record at that stadium.
Yeah, I think I did hear. I think I did hear that at the end of the broadcast. I don't know if Jeff or Todd Caddes had mentioned that.
Yeah, that's pretty good, honestly. But then
All
again, the
right,
Astros were in the American League for what, since 2012 or 2013?
in 2012. Yeah, but still, I mean, yeah, the Yankees played there a lot. Who else? The Pirates played there a lot. I mean, not the Pirates.
Well, the Rangers,
Rangers.
all these teams in the American League West. Remember how they changed the schedule formatting for that? It used to be like 16 games against your divisional opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean that's pretty cool to put your name in that spot. But like we said, this is why we're titling the last visit at the Coliseum, as the Astros played their last game over there at Oakland, because next year on the schedule it says ATHL, so that means they're moving to Sacramento, and then possibly the next coming years they'll go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them, but I think it hurts the franchise a lot.
Yeah, hurt not just the franchise, but the fans over there in that Coliseum. Shout out to you guys. Awesome work. If you haven't checked out Bring on the Blitz podcast, make sure you go out there. Houston Texans content. They just had a fun interview. I don't know if you saw it, Angel, with Hannah and Cal McNair's favorite go-to taco.
It did. It's pretty cool. And then, shout out to them because they're waking up early. I've been seeing my Twitter feed that at 5:30, 6:30 there's already people lined up for Texans training camp to get in there. So shout out to them as well.
The Swarm over there in Houston for the Texans. That's going to be a great season for them. I can't wait for football season. But moving on to our show, Isaac Paredes and the Astros.
Nice.
Could there be a connection there? Monday on MLB Central, per Jon Heyman, who is a New York baseball columnist for NY Post, he had said on the show on MLB Central, quote, "I think you're going to like this, Flores," as in Robert Flores. "There's another guy who can play first. Played first base in New York the last couple of days when the Rays were playing the Yankees over there at the Bronx." He said, Isaac Paredes. This is a potential fit for the Astros. Today, which was Tuesday's night's article from Chandler Rome, this is from him. He said, the Astros have expressed interest in Rays third baseman Isaac Paredes. This is an interesting one because he's a guy that plays third base for the Tampa Bay Rays. You don't see him a lot at first, but you see him more. Yeah, he does play a little bit at first.
He actually plays second base too.
Yeah, he plays majority of his games at third base. Mm-hmm. Real quick, I'm looking at his fielding chart. At least the splits of third and first. 77 games at third base this season, 14 games at first base. Isaac Paredes' numbers this year. Let's dive into the offensive production from him. 250 batting average, 18 doubles, 16 home runs, 51 RBI, 797 OPS, a 129 OPS plus. Last year, he finished the season with 132. He's already at 129. Last year was one of his best seasons, too.
That's not from the All-Stars.
That's what I was going to mention just right now.
Bad.
Like, honestly, you're good. Last year, he could have been an All-Star, too. His season ended with a 250 batting average, 31 home runs, 98 RBIs, 24 doubles. Honestly, I kind of like this. Let's show the spray charts real quick. We're going to do our little media thing right here. Look at the spray chart. If you zoom in on the numbers on there, look where he pulls. I mean, he's a pull hitter. The ball is majority of his hits on the left side of the field. The left side of the field is very heavy, as this guy looks like one of the most pull hitters, and that's why they think that guy, Isaac Paredes, is a good fit for the Houston Astros. Just look at the balls traveling over there and left, over the fence. That's a lot of home runs. Even the the orange right there in the singles. And you have a little bit of doubles right there by the warning track at the wall. Just imagine him being in the Astros uniform and hitting at Minute Maid Park being his home ballpark. So we had to dive deep into that too. Let's look at the numbers right there. Adjusted expected home runs by park. Look at this year's number, Angel. Astros are at 24.
Wow.
The next clubs to have that being at their home ballpark, you got the Chicago White Sox with 20. You have the Philadelphia Phillies with 20 at Citizens Bank. You got the Cincinnati Reds with 20 at Great American Ballpark. And last but not least, two more ballparks being Colorado Rockies at Chorus and Dodger Stadium, LA Dodgers. But Houston has 24 this season. That doesn't mean he has 24 home runs. It just means if you see his ballpark, wherever the home runs as expected, Minute Maid Park, he would have 24 at that ballpark. Angel, give me your thoughts. Is this a realistic move for the Astros? Could they make this move? This guy has 3 more years of team control. Is this a wise move for the Astros to make when the trade deadline is coming? Because we are literally 1 week away from the trade deadline.
I think so. As a player, I really enjoy watching Isaac Paredes. He is from Mexico, which he played from Hermosillo, which him and Cesar Salazar played in the same team during Winter Ball with Los Naranjeros de Hermosillo. So there's a connection there. But I think this is, if the Astros can pull off this trade with the Rays for Isaac Paredes, it'll be huge because he can play first base this year. You know, he's a pull hitter, short porches, the Crawford's boxes, but he's not afraid to get those blue singles the other way. Not afraid to put the ball in play, but he can play third base. And with the uncertainty of Alex Bregman, he might not be an Astro this year. And with 3 years of control, I'm looking at his contract right now. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2028. He has arbitration through 2025, 26, 27 until 2028. He'll be an unrestricted free agent. If they can pull this move up and Alex Bregman does not sign, it's not an issue because you can plug Isaac Paredes at third base. Now, what is it going to take to get this deal done? That's the tricky part. Because you're not looking at a rental. You're not looking at a guy with 2 years of control. You got 3 years of control over this guy. So if the Astros were to pull this move up, you can tell Pedro Leon's would be first one out the door. Maybe Chas McCormick as well, and maybe with a pitcher and probably like another player. I would say like a 4-for-1 trade or 4-for-2 trade with Tampa, maybe like another prospect they have down there. But I think that's what's going to have to take to get this deal done. I know the Yankees are also looking into Isaac Paredes too, so the Rays are going to have many suitors for Isaac Paredes just to see who gets the best offer. But it'll be an amazing trade for the Astros. I think I like it. I'm sure the fan base is going to be, Isaac Paredes is a pretty good guy with the fans, so I think the fans are going to fall in love with him pretty quick too.
Just made the All-Star team this year, and yeah, I agree. I think this is a good fit. Okay, real quick before I move with me, explain my explanation with him too. Do you see this as a big splash? Would you call this trade, if they do something like that with him, is this a big splash trade for the Astros?
Absolutely. Now, the thing is, and I forgot to mention this, is the guys I mentioned, if Isaac Paredes does get to Tampa Bay, Chas McCormick, Pedro Leon, and probably like another pitcher, another prospect, right? Are the Astros willing to make that trade knowing they have holes in the starting pitching wise, right? Because if you were to trade 3-4 guys for Isaac Paredes, right, that gives you less to work with to get a starting pitcher. That means you're trying to find it from elsewhere. You're going to try to, maybe move a guy you did not want to move at all. So it's all tricky. So, I mean, like I always said this, like recently, like the price is right, they'll get the deal done. But if it's not, then I don't see it getting done.
I'm looking at the outfielders depth chart for the Rays right now. Randy Arozarena, who's I honestly think he's going to be on the move. And Mark Feinstein had even mentioned he works for MLB. Dodgers are interested in him. So
Mhm.
I honestly think Rosarena is gone. That doesn't mean he's going to the Dodgers. I just think he's probably going to be more than likely traded. You got Johnny DeLuca, my fault. And that I think he was in that Ryan Pepois trade with the Dodgers. Josh Lowe, Richie Palacios, Ahmad Rosario, and Jose Siri. Jose Siri, that's going to be their starting center fielder. Ahmed Rosario has had a good beginning part of the season for them, but I just don't see that. Richie Palacios has been playing some right field for them. Josh Lowe either plays the outfield or as a DH. So if you lose a Rosarena, who's going to play the other part of the outfield? And that's where I think you had mentioned Pedro Leon. That'll probably be one guy I would think that the Astros. I think he's honestly MLB ready. You just don't know where to put him because you got guys like Kyle Tucker, you got Jordan Alvarez, Jake Myers, Joey Lopafito has now entered the mix. Chas McCormick is playing still. Them hoes are kind of filled in the outfield, and with him, he's like you were mentioning in the last episode, Corey Jokes. There was just no room for him. They traded him away. Now he's playing some quality minutes and quality games with the Chicago White Sox over there in the South Side. So that's why I think Leon could be a prime. He could be one of the guys in this trade package. I don't know how many guys it's going to take for them to trade off for an Isak Paredes. I'm pretty sure it's going to be maybe I'm targeting about 2 to 3 prospects just for the fact, or even an MLB player that's already ready like Chaz. You could get away with that and a prospect and maybe a very, very, very low end prospect that's probably like in low A, high A, or even rookie ball that can go with these Paredes just for the fact because he has 3 years of arbitration still. He has 3 years of team control. He's going to be in an Astros uniform. If they do pull this trade off, he'll be in an Astros uniform for a while and just has a better part that moves on for the next season. You don't have to worry about, as in the Astros don't have to worry about at third base.
Yeah.
Because now have their starting third baseman right there with Paredes. I will say this too. I think he could be a good clubhouse fit.
Mhm.
I honestly think this helps the clubhouse as well as a gel because there's full of Latinos in that clubhouse. The whole infield full of Latinos. Bregman, you could even consider as a Latino because he does speak Spanish. But Pena from the Dominican Republic, Altuve being from Venezuela, John Singleton gets well with the guys, Mauricio Dubon, Honduras, Jordan Alvarez, Cuba. There's a lot of ethnicity in that clubhouse, a lot of Latinos in that clubhouse. And I think bringing him, and like you were saying, he played with Cesar Salazar in the Winter League and with the Mexico in the Caribbean Series. I think it just fits perfectly for the team. Very, very perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that stopping is the guys, right? The who do you give up? Who are you trading? Do the I mean, if they don't trade like Randy Rosarino, do they even want outfielders? So you got to look at their needs too. So I mean, it's a lot of moving pieces, but if they can put it off, that'd be great. But they still got to focus on the real issue right now. I'm gonna say real because I think it's the most biggest issue is the
Yeah.
starting pitching.
Yeah, I think this is maybe their second plan. I think if you're the Astros, I think if you're in Dana Brown's shoes, which I'm not, I'm just saying, I think you're going after starting pitching first, and then that big bat later. That maybe the second time or the third option, which I don't even think for a bullpen because he had mentioned we'll have his thoughts because he was on the Sean Salisbury show earlier this morning. Um, it's probably going to be pitching more than anything, and then at bat. But just imagine if you do get Isak Paredes, he'll be playing a lot of games at first base, and then you could switch him off with John Singleton too. You could put him in the DH role too if you needed to.
And then I know Chandler Rome's a great beat writer, which says the Astros have expressed interest, and like he's not the only one that like you said, that's the proper term. Like if we were writing it, that's what we would say to express interest. But express interest can mean like many things. I'm sure the Astros just call, check the waters, how it is, or it could also mean they're actively pursuing, right? Already having talks. Like sometimes, like Dana Brown's been said, like he's called guys just to test the waters, just to see, like what's it gonna take, just to kind of get create that bond, create that chemistry, have that communication. So like, say for example, the Yankees put a deal. It's like, hey Dan, I got the Yankees on the line. Like, what's your counter offer, something like that, just to test the waters, just to keep letting the Rays know that the Astros, are in the running for Isaac Paredes too.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for the Yankees, I would say, just for the fact that they're divisional rivals and
especially the
it,
way it's been going on. Like,
yeah. So I think maybe Houston has the upper hand just for that fact. Of course, you could put egos aside and just do it as a business standpoint. What's best for the team? But do you think the Rays actually want the Yankees to have a good player and help them win the World Series? That's just like the Astros and Rangers if they wanted to make a trade like for Nathan Uvalde, which I don't. Now I honestly think the Rangers aren't selling more. I think they're buying. I think they're
how many
buying.
trades have the Rays and the Yankees actually done in the franchise history of it?
Not sure. I am not 100% sure, but I wouldn't doubt they've traded. I mean, just think about it. The Red Sox and the Yankees only have 5 trades. I want to say. I know in the single digits
Who? I'm
as
sorry.
the Red Sox and Yankees, which is the biggest
Understand.
rivalry in sports. They only have 5. I want to be 100% sure, but I'm not 100% sure to you. At least a single digit trades among each other.
I got you right here. So it says New York has seldom lined up for trade with the offer from Tampa Bay. In fact, the Rays 25-year history, the teams have completed just 7 trades, 5 of which have involved swapping a player for cash considerations.
So you
And
see,
then the best trades, like it kind of gives you like a little snippet. December 29th, when the Rays traded Blake Snell to the Yankees for Debbie Garcia, Clark Smith, Anthony Seager, and Kyle Higoshiga. I think that's how you say that.
but they didn't get traded over there.
No, the Yankees had Blake Snell when he was a minor leaguer. They traded him to the Rays, and the
Oh
Yankees got
wow,
Debbie Garcia, Clark Smith, and yeah, that was news to me too. And then in December
interesting.
16th, 2023, the Rays traded got Tyler Glass and Manuel Margay to the Yankees for Chase Hampton and Everson Pereira.
So you see, that's why I think the Astros would have an upper hand if they try to get Isak Paredes from the Rays before the Yankees do. But like we were mentioning, I think more than anything is going to be starting pitching. But I honestly think it's a great fit for the Astros if they could pull that off, getting Paredes.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a great move for the fan base, the clubhouse, like you said, and just for the Astros overall. But I guess it's time for the carne asada. And you know who likes carne asadas? Isaac Paredes likes carne asadas. But we're going to go ahead and start with who's bringing the meat. That's going to be Hunter Brown. Continues to be excellent. 16 pitch, like you said, 8 hits, earned a run, a walk, 8 strikeouts. He's been on a great run these past 3 months. He's 8-4 in those in 3 months with 3.17 ERA. It's 34 runs, 96.2 innings pitched over 17 appearances dating back to April 16th. Now, I know you gave us some stats from May 5th. I'm going to give you some stats from May 22nd. So,
Nice.
among AL pitchers since May 22nd, he ranks second in ERA, second in wins, third in opponent OPS at 575, sixth in opponent average at opponent batting average 207, and ninth in WHIP. His 2.15 ERA since May 22nd ranks second among all MLB pitchers during that span, only behind Paul Skeens, who has a 1.81 ERA.
Wow.
So, like Lorenzo gave us some stats from May 5th, just from May 22nd, just to continuing to express how Hunter Brown, a complete turnaround season, has been great for the Astros and has been one of the elite pitchers in this league.
Yeah.
Moving on to there's be Jose Altuve. He went 5 for 12 this series with 2 runs and 2 RBIs. In the AL, he ranked second in hits with 123. That number went up by 3, so he put 126 there. Tied third in multi-hit games with 35 and 6 in I'm sorry, tied third in multi-hit games. And then I'm going to share some love to 2 guys who have either been hurt from injury or been struggling. I'm going to shout out Victor Caratini is invited to the carne asada this time around. I know he only played in 1 game. He went 2 for 4 with a home run coming back from an injury. Each of his last 16 home runs have come hit from the left-hand side, including all 5 this season. So I know he's a switch hitter, but his lefty is a stronger side. And a guy that's been struggling that had a good game, so I'm going to shout him out, is Chas McCormick. He went 2 for 3 with a home run, which is only his fifth home run, and he raised his batting average to 211. I know Charles McCormick was expected to kind of take over one of the outfield spots and compete with Jake Myers. He hasn't had the season he has, but whenever you have a contribution from one of your guys, you just gotta, celebrate that, because one game could literally be the difference between a different season.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they deserve it. Victor Caratini too. Not hitting the ball since what, major league talent since the Chicago White Sox series, and then first game back hits a home run. Shit, what a great game for him. Chas McCormick too. Of course, he's not getting a lot of playing time just for the fact Jake Myers is hitting the ball really well for them. 211 just hasn't been his season this year, but at least he's making an adjustment.
I mean, that's what you got to do. This is a game of adjustment. You got to change things up, adapt, and let it know for you to have success.
Most definitely, but let's get through this pitching review real quick. The Dodgers 61-41 record. The Los Angeles Dodgers are coming to Houston with a 61-41 record, like I mentioned, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They're going to be playing here or actually they might be playing right now against the San Francisco Giants, first in the National League West. The last meeting the Dodgers and the Astros had was at Dodger Stadium last year. The Dodgers did take 2 games from that 3-game series. All 3 games, though, Angel, were decided by 1 run. They were all decided by a run. So that's how good those ball games were. And I think a lot of Astro fans are going to be excited for this series because this is the 2017 World Series matchup. A lot of banter from both fan bases from over there, being the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Houston Astros. But, man, fun matchup, I would say. A lot of MVPs in this series with Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts won't be playing. Yeah, I think he's still recovering. Shohei Ohtani does return back to Minute Maid Park this year as a LA Dodger. As well, these starting pitchers I'm going to be announcing right here. Friday start time, 7:10 for the Houston Astros. Framber Valdez, 8.5 record with a 3.63 ERA. The Dodgers have yet to announce their starting rotation. I haven't seen anything of late from them, but the Astros, same thing as them. I'm just projecting the Astros just for the fact how the starts have been. Remember, Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco was in that series against the Mariners. So I'm going with that pattern right there. And I think Framber is going to be the first guy against the Dodgers. His last start against the Mariners, 5 2/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Think about it right there. The 4 walks wasn't a good number. So you're going to expect, if you're a Nationals fan, I think you're expecting a better outing from him. That doesn't sound like a bad outing. Looking at it right there, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, was 1 out away from a quality start, but the 4 walks does give that away. He's the only Astro in this series, if the Astros do follow that rotation, like I was mentioning, that has faced the Dodgers, but he hasn't faced them since 2020. 2020 Framber Valdez and 2024 Framber Valdez are 2 different animals. So you're going to expect a better, mature Valdez coming out in this start.
Absolutely. And this start by Valdez is going to be very important because this is a playoff team. This is a team you're going to be seeing in the postseason. Like, I don't know, they play in the National League, but the American League teams are just as good. And 4 walks against the Dodgers, that's not going to be a recipe for success there. They will take advantage of those walks. They have 1 through 9, could take you deep, can take advantage of mistakes real easy. So, like you said, it was a good start. It wasn't great. I think he has to be not near perfect because of the movement of his stuff he can afford to, leave a slider and get a ground ball. Leave a sink out over play and get a ground ball, but he can't leave too much mistakes because this team will take advantage of that.
Yeah, a bunch of stars on that team. Teoscar Hernandez, we didn't even mention him. He won the home run derby, and this is going to be not his first time back at Minute Maid Park, but at least as a Dodger, because he did play with the Astros at a time. But like I said, you can't make mistakes against a team like that. Think about it. Dodgers and Mariners lineup are 2 different lineups. All-stars, MVPs in one side, a rookie of the year on the other side that has the potential to become an MVP in this league, which is only Julio Rodriguez. Saturday, 6:10 start time. Ronel Blanco, 9.5 record with a 2.75 ERA. Blanco's last start against the Mariners, just kind of the same thing as Framber Valdez. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Those 6 hits and 4 earned runs are tying a season high this year for Valdez. You're looking for a better outing against the Dodgers. This will be his first time going against them. But like I said, I think if you're Blanco, you're looking for a better start than the last because like you were mentioning with Valdez, you leave mistakes against a team like that, they're going to make a pay for it. And I'm expecting a bounce back start. Even though the numbers do look good, I'm expecting a bounce back start from him.
Yeah, I mean, and the Dodgers haven't seen Ronel Blanco. I'm sure they got film, but watching film and seeing it in person is two different things. That could be an advantage for Blanco there.
Yes, Sunday, 1:10 start time. Spencer Arrighetti, I believe, should be on the mound for the Astros. 4-8 record, 5.65 ERA. His last start against Oakland, we were mentioning it, kind of the pitching location. The command just wasn't as pinpoint that he was hoping for, but his stat line against the A's: 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. I honestly think he's pitched really well against great teams, postseason teams, I would say, um, through his 18 starts this season. Like I was mentioning, the Guardians, he did really well. The Braves lineup, he did really good. The Rangers, even though they don't look like a postseason team right now, I mean, they're World Series champions for a reason, and he did pitch really well against them. I think when the bright lights are on him, he performs at a high rate. His confidence is up there. Um, More than anything, that's what he's going to need against a Dodger team like this.
Nevertheless, if you're the Astros, I think you do want to win the first 2 games if you can, because Arrighetti has struggled late as of late. I know they have confidence in their guy. I know they have confidence in Arrighetti to pitch a gem, but he would have to work hard. This is a team that's going to exploit mistakes. So I would say try to win the first 2 and then just roll with the punches in the third game.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Let me see real quick. I'm just curious about the starting pitchers for the Dodgers. Stone, which I think his first name is Gavin Stone. It's not Gavin. I might be wrong.
I think it is Gavin.
Is it Gavin? Well, he pitched on Friday's matchup after the All-Star break, so he could be potentially starting. Another guy for the Dodgers, his last name, my gosh, I don't know how to say this. Robleski. You think the W silent on that one?
I'm looking at it right now. Give me a second.
That
Oh,
Robleski.
Robleski. Yeah, Robleski, I would say.
So yeah, the W might be silent on that. And then James Paxton was the guy to do the series finale against the Red Sox and Dodgers in that series, was the last pitcher for Sunday's matchup, but now he's DFA'd. So more than likely you won't see him on the mound. But Gavin Stone, a guy that's a rookie, I want to say. Borowski, I don't know his career numbers, if he's a rookie and this is like third or fourth year in the league. But the Dodgers too have been dealing with some starting pitching issues. Clayton Kershaw's been on the IL for them. Walker Buehler hasn't been as strong like he was back 2 years ago, coming off that Tommy John. So this series actually could be every series for the Astros should be winnable, but against a team like this that has World Series potential, you gotta be promising and you gotta feel good if you're in the shoes of the Astros.
Okay, I mean, you can't let the offense beat you. You gotta let them pitch. They take it, like exploit their weakness, which is pitching right now, and don't let the offense beat you.
Most definitely.
But I think it's time for the train station. Where's the train? Where's the train? It's time for the train station.
I don't got the background on me today. I guess my trains aren't out.
But let's move on to injury updates. Kyle Tucker, I think this is the one that, and we've been kind of saying this, that it's kind of like a broken record. It's like surprised that he's still out. There has to be something there, right? Well, on Tuesday, Kyle Tucker did some outfield work, but Joe Espada said there is still not the pushing or strength we would like to see, but it's better. It must have been a really deep bone bruise or like maybe like a hairline fracture or something, because being out for so long, it's
gonna be like 2 months.
Yeah, it's kind of worrying there. And Tucker is hitting in the batting cage, as Father said, and it's actually the activity it feels the best. So hitting is where he feels the best. It's more like the defensive work with uh, running and fielding. And then on Wednesday, on the Sean's, which is today, on the Sean Salisbury show on Sports Talk 790, Denner Brown spoke about Tucker's injury. He said, "I'd be really disappointed if it was September, but we're optimistic that it'll be before September." Wow. Being mid July and having all of August and Denner Brown speaking of September, there must be something there that they're worrying about, that it could potentially elongate this injury a lot more, right? I I don't think it would be September, but I also said I didn't think he'll be gone for 2 weeks. So I don't know. Like, I don't have an answer for y'all. Like the listeners out there, when Tyler Tucker will be back. It's just a moment of waiting and seeing if he gets any improvement there.
Yeah, I think they had asked him if September is an option. And it's crazy because we're not even in August yet, but August is going to be here pretty soon. Next week, I think, is August, either Thursday or Friday. And saying September, wow. Like you said, it could have been a hairline fracture as far as we know, because Kyle Tucker hasn't played a Major League Baseball game since the beginning of June.
Yeah, and then so we got some news from Verlander too, but again, and then going back to Kyle Tucker real quick, I think that's a big hit for the Astros. Yes, I know they have had success without him in the lineup. Like some guys stepped up, but at the end of the day, you want your star players there. You want the guys who are going to help you win ball games, and that's Kyle Tucker in the middle of the lineup. But moving on to Justin Verlander on Monday, Verlander is scheduled to throw another bullpen on Wednesday, which was today. Did he throw that bullpen? Do you have an update there?
I don't have an update on that. I just saw the update that he was supposed to throw on Wednesday. But last update with Verlander, I want to say he did throw 40 pitches in a bullpen.
Did he?
So maybe the ramp could be coming up on his pitch count. Maybe you're looking at 50, maybe 60.
Okay.
At the end of the day, as long as he's progressing well, I think that's very, very optimistic news for the Astros.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just trying to get some last minute. Nope, there was nothing there. Okay. So Lance McCullers, again, still not throwing. He had a setback, and I don't see him pitching at all this season. So hopefully next year he's back and ready to go. Luis Garcia threw a 31-pitch bullpen session and was up to 91. Joe Espada said this was on Monday. I think I'm optimistic about Luis Garcia being back. I would say before September, honestly. I know he has to ramp up a little bit, do some rehab starts here and there. But I would say before September, maybe late August. I think it's when you see Luis Garcia back.
Yeah, that's a great target date. I'm thinking the same way. As long as he gets back healthy, I think that's all that matters.
Absolutely. I think it could be a difference maker in the home stretch of the September months. But a guy we haven't really talked about much is Penn Murfee. On Tuesday, Murphy threw a bullpen. Just said he could throw one more before possibly going to minor league rehab assignment. Whenever you can get some help in the bullpen, that's always good, just to give these guys a break. I know they've been pitching their butts off, and they've been pitching good. But, whenever they can rest their arms a little bit, you can give them an inning or two later on in the season.
Yeah, that's great news for guys like Seth Martinez, Taylor Scott, even Rafael Montero, all those guys that are like in the mid part in relief. When you got a guy that's coming back from injury, but that's going to be fully healthy and ready to contribute in this team, I think that's a very positive sign for those guys, thinking that like, oh man, we got help coming on the way. And then just think about too, when all these starting pitchers, when Garcia comes back, Verlander comes back, and then possibly the Astros do add a reliever at the trade deadline. I think it's going to be a sigh of relief. It's almost like weight have been lifted off their shoulder.
Absolutely.
That's how I would see it.
No, I mean, I agree with you then. Absolutely. I think having Penn Murfee back, or just even help from like you said, the trade deadline, it would be a really big helpful for this club. But since the trade deadline's fast approaching, we're gonna spend some time talking about some farm news, because usually when the trade deadline comes, the farm system starts to get a little shifty on what could be, going on, right? So let's start with infielder Zach DeZencio, who's actually the third baseman, second baseman, fourth ranked prospect in the Astros system. He was transferred from AA Corpus Christi to AAA Sugarland, and they kind of continued where he left off from Double A because in his first at bat in Triple A, he hit his first home run in his first at bat. So very very good potential there. And then per Francis Romero, the Astros are expected to have a Cuban outfielder Pedro Leon as a trade piece by the trade deadline. Leon is not an option to be promoted, and the franchise has no room for him. Again, this is all from Francis Romero. There and just let's take a look at Leon's AAA stats because he's been on a tear. 300 batting average, 375 on base percentage, and 903 slugging. 19 home runs, 74 RBIs, 22 stolen bases. Almost could be like honestly in AAA could be a 30-30 guy over there in AAA. He's just been phenomenal, and the better he plays, the more of a trade piece the Astros have. That's it. Like that's where they're leading to.
I was going to mention real quick from the injury thing when we had mentioned about Lance McCullers still not throwing. Do you honestly, well, not do you honestly, do you think maybe the Astros could be having some conversations with other GMs about, hey, Lance, our guy hasn't thrown in a while, but he's available if you're interested. Do you think Lance McCullers could be a trade piece too?
Not because of the contract. They're not going to pay him that much just to recover, to rehab. So if he had a reasonable contract, if he was getting paid what it's like Paredes is getting paid now, right? I would say maybe, but not with that contract.
Okay. Just wanted your thoughts on that.
I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I just thought about it right now. Just thinking about because I mean LMJ hasn't pitched for what since the World Series in 22?
I think so.
Was that the last time he pitched?
Yeah. He didn't pitch on last year.
And he got hurt early on. And he has potential to become we saw in the 21 season when Verlander was down. He was the number one guy for the Astros rotation. Did a really good job. And then he got hurt in that ALDS matchup against the White Sox. I don't know. Injury history could be a very plague for any GM that needs starting pitching, but a guy like him who has a history of injuries, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, well, neither do I. But you never know what these GMs could pull off, right? Now, I know we talked about Pedro Leon's numbers. I know Francis Romero said that there's no room for Pedro Leon at the Astros, but this is what Dana Brown said on the Sean Salisbury show. They're putting in work over there about Pedro Leon. He said, I think there's a chance he could get some run depending on what happens at the deadline. I think there's a good chance he can get here. What's your take on that? I think we're hearing a little bit contradictory terms, right? You have Francis Romero saying one thing, Dana Brown saying another thing. What do you think there?
I think if they could get the deal done in a package for him, then obviously he leaves. But if they can't get a deal done with him, there's a strong possibility that he could be making his MLB debut this season with the Astros.
Yeah, to me, I think it's just Dana Brown not revealing his hand a little bit. I'm sure he doesn't want other clubs to know that they're eager to get out of they get rid of him or they want him out. Whereas, hey, this guy could be with us right now, but we're trying to offer him to you, offer him his services. But we'll make room for him if there is, something like something like that. I think it's just more like keeping his haze up his sleeve there. And then about the trade deadline, Dana Brown also answered a question about the trade deadline. He said, we have a chance to move the needle. That's our goal. We got to get a deal done. We want to get a starter to really impact our rotation and a bullpen piece. We're in the grind to make it happen. So like you said earlier in the show, I think the main priority is a pitcher. I know you said bullpen, but I feel like for bullpen is if the price is right, but I think for sure they're pressing on a starting pitcher just because I told you this off air, but the starts with Arrighetti and Jake Bloss is kind of proved to the fact that the Astros didn't get a starting pitcher this offseason. They haven't been I know both Arrighetti and Bloss have shown glimpses of potential, but right now that's not the answer for starting pitching. I think they're gonna have to get something done.
Especially if you want to get back to the World Series. I think you have to get a starting pitcher, at least one at the deadline. At least one.
Absolutely. Because again, for the postseason, like you just need 3 or 4. You don't need all 5. So they can get one more. That'd be great. And then Daniel Brown said on the pitching at the trade deadline, he said a third or fourth starter would be great, but it's going to cost you. It would be nice to lock one down and put them in our mix. It'll be difficult to try to get a number 1 or number 2 in the market, which is kind of we've been kind of like saying, right? Like Crochet is probably not reasonable. What's the other? Flaherty's probably not going to be reasonable, but more like a Cal Contra or a Gomber or like players like that.
Yeah.
And then more on pitching from Daniel Brown. He said, we're in the market and acquiring the best pitcher possible. If we can lock down a starter, we feel really good about that. And also adding a bullpen piece. We're working our tail off to make that happen. And then he also mentioned a little bit about some offense. He said, we're looking at all avenues, anything to make this club better. But most important is a starter. If we can add a bat, we'll try and do that too. So that's where my point for the Isaac Paredes came in last time. Like, you're not going to give away all your pieces just to make Isaac Paredes happen. You're going to focus on your niche first as a starter. And then if you have anything left over that's enticing to the Rays, then you can make it happen.
Yeah, this trade deadline is going to be one of the most critical deadlines, I would say, in not Astros history. Yeah, actually, take that back. I think it is one of the most critical deadlines in Astros history. 2019.
Beats the Justin Verlander edition or no?
I'll say nothing beats that just for the fact that was their first World Series championship in 17. But I go back to 19, when Jeff Luhnow literally unloaded the farm to get Zach Greinke to Houston. And honestly, we could go on with the Astros should have and could have and would have won the World Series, but there's a strong possibility that can actually be in this part right here. Maybe you can see small moves like how the 21 Braves did to win a World Series. So that's my thought on that.
I mean, something's going to have to happen. It's going to have to give. The Astros, one way or another, need to get a starter. It's going to take, like you said, it's going to be expensive. It's going to cost you, but he's going to have to make it happen. You know, like, have you heard the term, they get to spend money to make money, right? So it's the same thing here. Like, if you want to get something good, you have to give up a lot, right? So it's just depending how it's going to go. But I think that pretty much wraps up from the train station. We do have a few newses from around the horn. We're going to try to wrap it up quick because I know we went past our hour mark. But something cool happening is MLB Network launches a standalone streaming service, 24/7 MLB Network. It's $5.99 a month, $6.99 a month gives you MLB Network plus MLB at Matt radio only. I mean, this is pretty cool if you're like a fan of MLB Network. I'm not sure you can still see like all the live games. Like, I'm sure there's still blackout, but I mean, for many, I mean, this could work out just fine.
I think that's like the cheaper option shit. You get to watch all their shows and I think even their games.
Can you?
Yeah, it's like if it's not the blackout game, then you can watch their actual like whatever they have like as the headline game of the night.
Nice. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's not bad. $6. I mean, I'm sure you pay more for Netflix and Paramount on those streaming service there. So I mean, yeah, that's not.
Well, what's one more gonna hurt?
Right. And then there's a big shoving and talking back and forth between the Red Sox and Rockies. I think those are two teams you least expect to be getting in a fiery altercation. But Kyle Contreras says some words to McReese. I'm not going to repeat it, but you can go watch the video and make your own interpretation if you're a good mouth reader. But I mean, I think I know what it says, but I'm not going to say it here. This is a rated G podcast, not a rated R podcast, but you can go ahead and look at that. But it really got the Red Sox, fired up, and it was kind of like dugouts cleared, and they were going back and forth there. But watch the video, like just to see why it got heated and how it and what happened there.
Yeah, you think the Red Sox got heated or the Rockies? The 20 runs up.
Yeah, I mean it was like a football score over there.
Like 20-3, and the Broncos.
I would say
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots and Broncos.
Yeah. But I mean, like you're saying, a long ass show, an hour and 10
I'm
minutes.
tired already. It's 10 o'clock.
I forgot it's your bedtime. You're
I
you're one of the
know.
grandpas. 20-something-year-old man now has one of the most grandpa schedules of all time. But that is the end of our show. Follow us at our platforms below. Like I had mentioned, the social channels from TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, FSA, Full Steam Ahead, and of course YouTube. If you're on Twitter right now, make sure you go to the YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, and hit that like on this video. But podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. Anything else, Angel, before we let them go?
No, just thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking to this hour and 10 minute podcast and late one too. Then it's 10 o'clock, and a lot of you go to work tomorrow. So thank you for sticking to us, and just peace.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, everyone that has stick to and throughout this podcast. If you haven't checked out, if you missed up some of the objectives we have on our topics right there on the side, we'll have this up on YouTube, and we'll have the little splits where you can just go and see what you missed. But tomorrow there'll be another one episode with a Dodger talking about the Dodgers from Locked On Dodgers, um, talking about what they're looking at, what they've been doing. Trade deadline as well, we can talk about with them. But this series matchup, it's a very critical one for the Astros. 2017 World Series matchup, as I had said before, and this could either pull away in the American League West from these other two teams, or some of these teams could catch up and make this AL West very, very interesting. Until then, we'll talk to y'all later. Y'all stay safe and have a blessed one.
Peace.